Hello, this is Michael with ServiceNow, and I wanted to go ahead and show you a really neat feature that came out with the Jakarta release. This is called the Guided Tours, which is part of the embedded help, and it's part of the ServiceNow platform itself. So anyone who's got a license or subscription to ServiceNow has access to this. And the one great thing about Guided Tours is the fact that it allows the ServiceNow customers to create their own tailored tours specifically and within ServiceNow for self-help. This has been the type of thing that I've experienced over the years that a lot of customers need either guides or single page cheat sheets in order to identify or to show how to go ahead and move through maybe a particular process or a particular form. And because every implementation of ServiceNow can really vary between different customers, this gives our customers now the ability to tailor their help and ultimately really add some additional value to the platform. So like I said before, this is a platform feature, and it's something that I've been very excited to see in Jakarta, and I really hope that a lot of our customers take right to it, because it's just a natural piece for that self-help to make ServiceNow even easier than what it is already. So for the guided tours itself, you'll need to go and navigate to the embedded help guided tours, and there's already some guided tours out of box. So you'll see that there's one for incident and maybe for the PA dashboard. And the one thing that you'll notice, especially if you have experience with ServiceNow, is that the way that we do use our forms, we always tend to have the name of the database table you're on that's showing as the name of the form. So when you see incident here, the incident.do page itself is really what that's showing as. And so all these various guided tours that are already here are pointing to the navigation for that particular form. So to start off from scratch, I'm going to go ahead and create one on the problem. So I don't have anything for problem as a guided tour. So this is the type of thing where me as a customer, if I've gone through an IT service management implementation and I have a certain process for problem management, I can go ahead and create a guided tour and give that self-help ability to help explain the process in addition to how to use the form to enable that. So in this case, I'm giving it some kind of name. And the context itself, this is the key part that's going to point to the particular form or view of ServiceNow that's working with. So typically a problem form is the problem.do form. So in this case, it's just problem. If it's something like incident, of course you saw the incident task. If there's anything like maybe a CMDB, it would be the CMDB_CI. So that context is really that form that you're looking at. In this case, it's just problem, description, the problem management self-help. And of course, I can also identify specific roles that are going to be using this. In this case, I don't really have any limitation in terms of who will have access to it. And so one of the things that I've really enjoyed with ServiceNow as we've gotten to the more recent versions is the fact that we've really been pushing more of a designer type of view. And so in this case, now that I have my guided tour set up, you'll notice that there's a section of the tour steps, but instead of filling those out manually, which is really kind of clunky and ugly, I can go ahead and launch off the designer. And the designer will automatically load up that problem form that I have, and then it gives me a type of, if you will, palette or a type of canvas where I can go through and put my different callouts. Now you'll notice this is not very complicated at all. So in this case, as I go through and do my steps for the guided tour, I really only have 4 different options for the callouts. And so if I have maybe a required field, in this case configuration item, very common, very popular for problem management. I may want to put a step in here that I'm trying to identify the most common type of CI that's having a problem, or maybe even a service. So I can identify the problem service if applicable, if not known, identify a CI server, router, etc. And then as I go through and put in my different instructions, I have options in terms of what's going to happen with each trigger step or each button. So in this case, I've got my first question my first instruction in place. And I can see that over here under the steps. So there's my first one. The second one may have a call out right above. You'll notice as I'm moving each of these different callouts, it's actually highlighting the different elements of the form itself. So it's not even just going to a specific field that's just there, kind of by default, but it's actually can highlight any of the different elements, such as a certain div or maybe a field. So you've got a lot of flexibility in what you can identify here. Title should be short but descriptive. And so as I'm going through and putting in all these callouts, it's really very simple of one step after another. And the nice thing is with the canvas, I've got an easy ability to go through and reorder these if I want. I can remove them. If I click on it, I can highlight it and change it. So it makes it very easy to build my own self-help tours in the ServiceNow platform. So maybe one more call out here, and you'll notice once again, maybe I do a chat room, which if it's something that a call out won't fit within, great, I get an error message. So you do have to be mindful of the call outs in terms of the orientation. There we go. So maybe I can do that for my time frame. Time frame should be best estimate. So once I do have everything built in terms of my my particular guided tour, I can go through and now just exit it. When I exit, you'll see that the guided tour itself that I had created already has these steps in place now. So now I'm at the point where if I just go to creating a new problem, I now have the ability to bring up this guided tour whenever I click on the help. So in this case, here's my problem that I have. I can go to the help. I now take a tour, and now it's going through those steps that I built. You'll see each element that I had attached to a tour goes through and shows up. You have to be careful in terms of the different elements you pick and show. If that element's not shown from maybe either being hidden from a UI policy or maybe even taken off the form, then of course that step's not going to be able to be shown in the tour itself. But overall, fantastic way to go ahead and build out those different self-help tours themselves. That way, as you go through and customize and configure your processes for your own environment, you can go ahead and make your tailor-made tours for what you really need as a customer instead of what we may build that would be applicable to everybody. So once again, this is Michael with ServiceNow, and thank you very much.